by Conduit Media
All right,
Group.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us. Hour number 2 here, the intersection of conservative ideas and reality. We're building a liberty machine, which came off a pretty explosive first hour where the bill to gut the Second Amendment gains, if you can even call them that, from last week were taken back a step. And it's pretty ridiculous, but that podcast is available over at paulharrell.com. We were broadcasting much of that debate live. Joining us now, we got former State Representative Donnie Copeland is with us. Donnie, I got to bring you up to speed on some stuff.
Let's hear it.
All right, you want to hear it? Okay.
Yeah, man.
All right. So the internet sales tax passed today out of the Revenue Tax Committee. The new sales tax on out-of-state sellers, that is unconstitutional. According to Dan Douglas, he admitted it himself. What is interesting, though, is how this all transpired. Because I have to bring you up to speed. First of all, a flashback to 2 days ago when Mr. Josh Waters he decided to urge the committee to do a roll call vote, which
that's the famed policy wonk of political strategies.
Political strategies, yes. Yeah, he is famous.
Well, as a bright guy,
yeah, he really is. So Josh Waters, he said that this bill is very important and the taxpayers deserve a roll call.
Mr. Chairman, I guess before we get a motion on this thing, I'd just like
here.
A bill this important, I believe the taxpayers who will be paying this tax deserve a roll call vote on this.
Sir, you mentioned the word roll call one more time, and I'm shutting you down.
All right, now let's actually get the full version of how ridiculous Joe Jett is here, the chairman.
I had shades of Boss Hogg and.
Sir, you mentioned the word roll call one more time, and I'm shutting you down.
Listen to this.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, do pass as amended by Representative Douglas. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
No.
Ayes have it. Call a roll call, Ms. Eden. By a count of 9 to 6, the motion fails.
So Josh Waters was completely vindicated within, like a 5-minute span. I mean, it's pretty crazy, right?
So let me make sure I understand this, because I know your listeners are much more astute than I am. So they actually did a roll call after his call for a roll call. Is that right? Or
yes.
Was this previous?
No. They did it. Here. Let me just listen to let me let you listen to the full exchange here.
So he went ahead and did the roll call anyway. Even though he got mad.
Well, the members requested the roll call.
Okay.
And that's what Josh was arguing. He was saying, please do the roll call vote.
I'm asking the committee to vote no, but I specifically want to ask the committee for a roll call on this vote. I'm afraid what's going to happen is that we'll go through this process and a voice vote will be called, and there might be 6 or 7 audible yeses when it takes 11 votes.
Excuse me, sir. Now you question my integrity of this committee. I'm not going to allow that to happen. If you're going to sit down at the end of the table, you discuss the bill, discuss the merit of the bill. It's important for this committee to have the integrity of everybody's honest opinion. But when you start questioning my integrity, I'm going to shut this thing down.
I no way.
That's what you just did, sir. You questioned my integrity, and I assure you, Democrats and Republicans both on this committee, not one of those folks all session has questioned my integrity, and I'm not going to have you sit down at the end of the table and start doing that.
That was not my intention. I apologize.
That's the way I took it.
Okay, I apologize. My argument for the merits of this bill, though, is that a bill this important, I believe the taxpayers who will be paying this tax deserve a roll call vote on this.
Sir, you mentioned the word roll call one more time, and I'm shutting you down. That's the chair's prerogative.
Okay.
That's the committee's prerogative. If the committee members want a roll call, all they got to do is ask for a roll call.
So here's the thing, and this was on Monday. This was on Tuesday. I know, right? And now on Thursday, there wasn't a roll call, and it did pass out with a voice vote. And I just got to think, maybe they didn't have the votes. Who knows?
Okay,
maybe they did.
Okay, so the policy, the very bright Rhodes Scholar policy wonk, Josh Waters.
He's not a Rhodes Scholar, but he's sitting right here at the table with us.
Hey, Josh.
Okay.
I didn't see him walk up.
You didn't see him there?
No.
Yeah, he was right behind that petition there.
He's pretty stealth. But anyway,
partition.
So he asked for a roll call.
Yeah.
He offends the chair.
Oh, yeah. Insulted his integrity.
this encapsulates not just this session, every session. But for our listeners, so he asked for a roll call. He insults the chair and says, one more time, I'm going to shut you down. And so then after that happens, they take the call. He calls it a pass. And then someone asks for roll call.
And it fails.
The very thing that he asked for.
And he was the very thing he was warning about happened.
That's when Josh should have stood up and said, I told you.
He should have stood up and said, I wasn't questioning your integrity. I was questioning your hearing. It's obviously wrong. And I've been sparring on Twitter with Joe Jett. So fast forward from Tuesday.
We got to teach Josh booyah.
Fast booyah. Or just like mic drop or something. So fast forward from Tuesday to Thursday. Again, the internet text did finally, after the fourth time of hearing it, it finally passed.
Well, we think it did.
We think it did. It was a roll call. We don't really know.
Okay.
When Representative Kim Hendren decides to make this motion.
Mr. Chairman, I guess before we get a motion on this thing, I'd just like to make an inquiry or ask if I can make a motion to do this. In a committee I was part of last night, state agencies, that committee passed out a bill incorrect. In fact, I would just suggest anybody in this room go look at the archives in the House of Representatives. It was called out, and then it failed by at least 2-1. And I really have heartburn at how we're doing things these last few days. So can I make a motion, or should I make a motion, that from this point forward in this session, all committee votes are done by roll call?
Hold on just a second. We're going to check the rule book on that.
Got to check the rule book.
So he wasn't offended then.
He was not offended then, but his integrity is clearly being called into question there by Representative Hendren.
And the reason while you're looking for that, Mr. Chairman, if I could, let me just explain why I'd make that motion.
Stand by, sir. I think the rule book's going to say this is going to be on a bill-by-bill basis, but we're going to call upstairs and get a check on that.
They called upstairs. Okay. They're calling the people upstairs.
Could I just express a minute why
is this
I
like
make
replay upstairs?
I think we all pretty much understand, but if you think I think we all pretty much understand.
Well, you don't know the rest of the story, and the rest of the story is after that happened last night, I was in an elevator with a gentleman who had said he had committed not to ask for a roll call. But after he saw what happened with that roll call, it angered him so much that he himself called for a roll call. And those kind of tactics, I don't think, serve the people of the state of Arkansas. And that's why I'm making this motion.
I appreciate it, sir. Just stand by. If it's in the rule books, and if we can do that, then we'll accept your motion. But if it's not, the way I understand the rule book right now, it's just going to be on a bill-by-bill basis.
But the rules, as I understand, Mr. Chairman, the House, with 51 votes, can change whatever their rule they want to change if it does not violate the U.S. or the state Constitution. Is that correct?
I think so, sir, but we're not on the House floor right now, and I can't get 51 votes for this meeting.
I guess we will be at 1:30, won't we?
Mr. Hendren, it's been determined what we're going to do moving forward. This is going to be on a bill-by-bill basis. If members want a roll call, it just takes 2 members to roll call. And that's why we're going to operate the rest of this.
Notice his language there.
This committee.
His language, Joe Jett. It's been determined that this is what we're going to do. He really never says the rules say. I guarantee you that was a proper motion.
I wonder if the phone actually ever rang upstairs.
That would have slowed things down to a crawl. But I guarantee you that was a proper motion. We want to record all committee votes.
And that right there, my friend, is why all committee votes should be...
You just heard it laid out.
Should be recorded.
And here's why. Because I went back, I was curious. I was like, what is Kim Hendren talking about? He said this happened last night. This was Wednesday night. And so Wednesday night, Bob Ballinger was presiding over the state agencies committee, because that's his chair, that's his chairmanship. And they were hearing Senator Terry Rice's bill, SB 425. This is a bill that affects the Treasury Department. Apparently, there's somebody, at the head, the chief financial advisor, who is supposed to have a college degree and doesn't. And this is a little bit of the debate here on this. And this is what Kim Hendren was talking about happened last night.
And they determine your skill sets. They determine where you ought to be, and then they're going to assign you. And frankly, that ain't working. It's not working, in my opinion. We voting on bills over and over. We send a bill to the governor. He signs it, and then we come back and start amending it. And in this member's opinion, we just got a mess.
Talking about the gun bill.
And what I'm thinking, this may be some of the same stuff here. It bothers me. And what I've always thought is that the ultimate decider of my skill sets and Dennis Milligan's skill set are the voters, with whom we are all going to face next May and March and so forth. Thank the Lord for that, I would say, for all of us. But my question is that why don't, I thought, and I know the sponsor mentioned these people aren't qualified, or perhaps don't have the qualifications or don't have a degree. That bothers me just a bit, because when I ran for office, I've never been said, well, you got a degree or don't have a degree. And my dad didn't have a degree. He had 6-year education, but he did pretty well and so forth. So my question is this: what is Dennis Milligan screwing up here that needs to get fixed? I'd ask that of you all. Maybe you're going to defend it the other way, and then the sponsor. What is getting screwed up that needs to get fixed that the voters can't fix with Dennis Milligan in the next election?
Well, sir, the only way I know how to answer that question is that he has doubled the returns in his first fiscal year in office, reaching numbers not seen since 2008. He has secured nearly $80 million in returns in the investments since taking office. And this was not done by the CIO, but by his hires and selections that he made as he came into office, and his challenge to not accept the way things have been always done. There's not a problem in the investment division.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
Here it is.
Motion do pass.
All right, so we have a motion do pass. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. No. Ayes have it.
The ayes have it. And
Okay, call the roll.
They called the roll, and it failed.
Sir, you mentioned the word roll call one more time, and I'm shutting you down.
Sure, you mentioned roll call one more time. I'm shutting you down.
Isn't that crazy?
Roscoe Pico here.
Yeah, I had somebody call me today, and they said, "You've got to keep playing that Joe Jet." You mentioned the word roll call, and then literally they made fun of him. I don't know how to say what they called him, but they were just like, "What a," Anyway, so that's what Kim Hendren was referring to, and so now flashback to this morning. Jake Files is down at the table. Dan Douglas isn't. I'm assuming Dan Douglas isn't down at the table because on Tuesday Dan Douglas said, "If we don't pass it this time, we're not running it anymore. To hell with it." That's what he said. He said we can't do anything. And that's I'm quoting
He's going
him.
to Oklahoma.
I'm quoting him. I'm just saying. I'm quoting him. That's what he said. If we can't do it.
I'm shutting you down.
We just can't do a thing. Anyway, he said that it was done. This is it. This is it. We're not doing it anymore. This is it. We're done. If it doesn't pass today, it's done. Well, he's wrong. I mean, I guess he didn't want to go down there and be like, "Well, committee, I'm back. I know I said it was done if it didn't pass on Tuesday, but we're here now. And so I'm back again because we've had some negotiations." No, instead it was Senator Jake Files.
You kind of go between Representative Douglas and Foghorn Leghorn.
I say this bill is a good bill. All right, so here is Kim Hendren again, from earlier this morning.
Yeah, just a question, Senator Files, or maybe the chair or the staff. It seems like I recognize this number here, this Senate bill. What is it, 140? Could you tell me, Senator Files, or could the staff tell me how many times this session we voted in this committee on this bill?
I can tell you.
How many?
You voted 3 times and expunged the vote 3 times.
How many more do you think it might take?
Today's it. One way or the other, today's it.
Yeah, one way or the other, today's
and they
it.
Determine your
Jake
skill
Files
sets.
says one way or the other, today's it. But on Tuesday, Dan Douglas said this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Committee. Thanks for your indulgence on this. We've been down the road before. I think we all know what the bill does. It says that out-of-state retailers with no physical presence in the state will collect and remit sales tax on money collected or on products sold within the state of Arkansas. We don't need to beleaguer this a whole lot. We've been down this road. We all know what it does. I just want to say this. There are no deals on the table. This is an up or down vote right here. It either lives or it dies in this committee, and it's over today. And we can either put the money in the general revenue and fight over it then, or We cannot have the revenue from this. It's up to you all.
Let's just back it up just
it's
a
up
little
to this
bit.
committee.
Okay.
State of Arkansas. We don't need to beleaguer this a whole lot. We've been down this road. We all know what it does. I just want to say this. There are no deals on the table. This is an up or down vote right here. It either lives or it dies in this committee, and it's over today.
But it wasn't, because 2 days
and
later
we can
it
either
passed.
put the money in the general revenue and fight over it then, or we cannot have the revenue from this. It's up to you all. It's up to this committee. I would remind some of us that there was a vote taken yesterday to fund highways using internet sales tax.
Oh, it's so sad.
You all know who voted for that. Well, without this bill passing, there will be no internet sales tax. Yes, we will have Amazon that has voluntarily agreed to collect and remit. That might be $30 million. Might be.
Maybe not.
And 15 of that,
Maybe not, though.
according to the bill that passed yesterday, goes to the general fund or general revenue. So that would leave $15 million for highways. That would build 1 mile of interstate highway. That's really going to move the state forward.
Oh, no.
We need to look at what we're here for, and that is doing the business of the state of Arkansas and enacting our laws in a fair and equitable manner. And we have retailers, we have businesses that are the backbone of our economy in this state that are suffering due to an unfair competition with online retailers that are not collecting and remitting sales tax. It's time that we do what we were sent here to do, to represent the people of the state of Arkansas and be fair and equitable and save our Main Street businesses and make sure we have the money to balance our budget. And with that, I'd take any questions.
It's pretty sad.
Thank you,
Jamie?
Mr. Chair.
Do what?
Life's like a box of chocolates.
Yep. That's exactly right. All right, folks. Hey, before